We've left a bit early. The sandflies virtually drove us out of the anchorage there. They're shocking, and the mosquitoes. There's another one. So we've got out of where we were, and we're just going to head out of Island Head and around a strong tide passage. We're a little bit early. It's not high tide in the passage till about 12 o'clock, so we're going to be pushing a lot of tide somewhere, I think. Looks like the weather has changed now. We've had very strong wind for the last 3 or 4 days, and now it looks like it's coming around to being a bit more favourable, maybe for a couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. Anyway, let's get out of here. Be a little bit careful coming out of Island Head Creek, because the charted way out is not the deepest way out. You want to stay over to the right as you're heading out. You'll be able to see it. I tried the charted entrance, but yeah, it's very shallow. So you've got to stay over to the starboard side of the inlet as you're heading out. Island Head, and we're copying a little backwash with the swells hitting that headland and running back out to sea. So it's a bit of a washing machine here, but we've just got to get around this point and we can shape a course for strong tide passage. About 4.5 miles down to the entrance into strong tide passage. Okay. And once we've got round the corner there, we've got the tide with us now, so we're doing 6.6 knots, so we'll be down there in under an hour. We're probably going to get to the passage a little bit early because it's high tide at 12, and that's when we really want to be in the middle of strong tide passage about 12 o'clock. But we'll have the tide going in, but then we'll be pushing a lot of tide once we get to the middle. But we'll just see how it all goes. Gnarly bottom too. I really did want to fly the drone in here, but with a little bit of wind on for one, and I'm just too busy with the nav, so you've got to be pretty careful coming through here. There's a few shoals and that around, and you want to be on your toes pretty well, so I don't want the brain thinking about what the drone's doing about as well as what the boat's doing. So we'll just concentrate on our navigation and get through here, and I'll get some drone pics later, hopefully. We're out in Broad Sound, just going across it to Stanage now. So through strong tide passage, and we've just set up a course for Thirsty Sound, or Plum Tree virtually, Stanage if you like, and we'll be down there I'd say around about 3 or 4 o'clock. We're going to be pushing a little bit of tide now because we've come out into Thirsty Sound, so we've lost all of that current coming through the passage, and we'll push a bit of tide until it turns in an hour or so. But we've got the sail out, that's given us a good knot, so that's great, and we'll be able to crack off this course a little bit in a minute and head towards Stanage and be down there this afternoon. You never know, we might get up to the store for dinner if they have them on tonight. we'll have to see how the land lies when we get there. But looking forward to being over at Plum and checking the place out. It's been a long while since I've been. Well, it's very pleasant out here today. A lot lighter wind than we've had over the last 3 or 4 days. We're just passing Collins Island here. There is anchorage behind that. We could go in behind that and anchor up, but we decided to keep on going. And the point of land you can see down in front of us is Stanage, and then around the corner we're in Thirsty Sound, and we're going to a little town called Plum to have a look. Once you get up into this area, for half of the day you're going to be pushing tide. The tides up here can get anything up to 6 or 7 metres high, so there's a lot of water flowing in and out on this part of the coast, and it sets up a bit of a current. So usually for half the day you might be pushing 1 or 2 knots of tide, but then for the other half of the day you'll probably pick up that 1 or 2 knots of tide, and there's no real way around it. You can do what you can. We've been pushing a little bit of tide up into here. The tide turned about half an hour ago, and now we're doing a better speed again. Sail definitely helps, but yeah, having that bit of tide certainly helps as well. We're a couple of hours out yet, and we've just furled up the sail. A couple of reasons for that. One, the wind is virtually not going as quick as what the boat is, so the sail was collapsing a fair bit of the time, so it wasn't doing much for us. And the other thing is, with the sail out, it was really covering the solar panel, so we didn't have much sun pumping up our batteries, and we've had quite a few very overcast days, so our battery capacity is down a bit. We just wanted to pump a few more watts into the house bank, and that'll do that in over the next 2.5 hours until we get down to Thirsty Sound. The tide heads us again as we come around the point and head down towards Plum. Okay, so I've just looked at Willy Weather tides, and we've got about 0.7 of a metre to fall before low tide, and that's the lowest tide for tonight's tide is lower than the one tomorrow. So 0.7, and we want 0.7. If I allow 3 metres, that'll be pretty good for us. So I'm just going to sneak into the bay. We're coming up onto the bank now, and I'll just back off a little bit and we'll get in a bit closer and find somewhere to anchor up. But ideally I want to be on a flat bottom with about 3 metres or 3.5 metres of water under us. Sneak in and have a look. 6 here, and the bottom looks like it's pretty sandy, I'd say. Pretty good boat ramp, low tide access I'd reckon. Pretty well low tide at the moment, so it's going to be a good spot to leave our dinghy, I think. The Plum Tree store has a bar and serves meals, and there's also some basic grocery items available. Be careful of the tides here. We misjudge them and end up having to drag the dinghy back down into the water. Put Stanage on your destinations list. It's a great little spot.